Okay, so again, we'll revisit these. Just make sure that you had them answered, and we'll revisit at the end. Okay, I know. I will turn off the lights in just a second so you can see it a little bit better, but if I turn them, I don't have just this panel. It's all of them, and so it makes it super dark in here sometimes, especially when it's kind of gloomy outside this morning.
That's the awesome.
Makes it awesome. You're going to fall asleep on me. All right. Okay, so yes, I will shut the lights so you can see this lovely picture. When I think of ecology, oh, thanks. When I think of ecology, I definitely think of something like this. It's just full of life. What kind of life do we see up here?
Birds.
Birds?
Tigers.
Plants? Tigers? Trees? Water? Fish? Plants? Anything else?
A rock.
Some rocks?
Trees.
Trees?
You already said that, Gabe.
Is that a monkey?
Monkeys? Yeah. Primates of some sort. It's kind of hard to tell. I like this picture just because it makes you like keep wandering and keep like looking and searching and searching. But there's lots of life, but you guys also said a lot of non-life things too. Probably not realizing it. But again, what we were doing right here by just looking at this is we were studying this, and we were studying what we were hoping was life. And so what is biology? We haven't even answered this question, and here we sat in biology class. What is biology, kiddos?
The study of life.
The study of life, yeah. Bio means life, and ology, anytime you see ology, that means the study of. So this class, we are studying life. And I think that's why the last two sections were like kind of slow, because we weren't really studying life. We were studying things that we're trying to get to life or that we use in life. But now I think it makes it way more fun, biology, like studying actual life, going out and seeing the living things. Okay? With that being said, there's a lot of bio words that we're going to look at. And here's one. Biosphere. What do you think this means? Study of life in the sphere, or a sphere of life. Okay, what is the sphere? The Earth, the world. What planet are we, by the way?
Earth. Jupiter.
What's our nickname?
Earth.
The blue planet. But there's a lot of green here on this one, but from far, far away we do look blue, I guess apparently to astronauts and such. Okay, when we look at the biosphere, there are three elements that we will be studying life in. What are the three major elements that you can kind of see as the world's turning? Land, which is green. Water, which is blue. And air is also blue. Why is air blue?
Because it's clear. Have seen the
Clear.
It's reflecting the oceans, the water. Yeah, hence why our air looks blue. And then when it gets really dark, it's because it's getting ready to storm, right? All right, so again, when I ask you on an assessment, what are the three parts of the biosphere, you're going to answer land, air, and water. Now, are those things living?
Yeah. No, not yet.
No, no, and no. But are there living things in them?
Yes.
Yes, yes, and yes. All right, so again, even though we're saying the bio, life, we're studying life in these three parts of the biosphere, of the sphere, right? Okay, another bio word is the word biodiversity. We're just wiping them all out at once so we know what they all mean. What does bio mean again?
Study of life.
Life. No, that's biology, but bio is just life, right? Okay, what does diversity mean? Different. Yeah, variety, different. So when we say biodiversity, we are looking at an assortment or a variety of different living things in an ecosystem or an environment. So would you say that picture that we just looked at was very biodiverse?
Yes.
Yeah, because you guys were mentioning a lot of different things, like a monkey and a bird. Two very different things, a tree and a monkey, different things. Like all, what's that?
We forgot
The tiger. Yeah, there's lots of things up there. We're going to revisit that here in a moment. But nonetheless, yeah, we are very diverse. Even in here, we are the same species. We are the same organism. However, our makeup individually makes us very biodiverse. Okay? With that being said, what is an organism?
Like a plant.
like a plant.
Single-celled organism.
Yeah, a single-celled organism. I heard somebody say a living thing.
That was me.
All right, yeah.
Good job.
And you were right, Colton. All right, but before, I guess I forgot that this was, I thought it was on the next one. But yeah, we got to say these because it's the last bio word. Forgot it. Biotic versus abiotic. What do you think that means?
Living versus non-living.
Yeah, living versus non-living. So a biotic factor is a living factor. And when you throw an A in front of something, it means the opposite of, typically, when we're talking about science class and other classes sometimes too. All right, so when I say, hey, give me a couple biotic factors, you're going to give me something that's living. So you could say a snake.
Go.
Might be.
Make sure.
A what?
Cold.
Go.
A cold.
Okay.
A cold.
A Colton, yes. Sorry. I was like, I thought you were saying a cold. And I'm like, huh? Colds, are they living or are they not? Ooh, that's a debate up for
Yeah,
for all the world.
They are living.
Are viruses living or they're not living? It's a debate for all the world. Yeah.
Yes. They
Okay.
are.
Abiotic, non-living. Yes, we are going to discuss that later on, but not today. All right, because I want to get away from the virus and not talk about it. Okay. Yeah, an organism, Colton was right. When we talk about an organism, it is a living thing.
Yeah. Go sit down. Yes.
If we were looking at this picture and we were looking for organisms, we would say an organism would go on under what heading that's up there?
Biotic.
Biotic, because it is living, right? So give me a couple biotic organisms. I'm kind of double negative there, right? Because it's the same thing. They're both living. So give me a biotic factor
Cells.
Superman.
in this picture.
Grass.
Sure, there are cells that they make up grass, okay?
Waves.
Trees, the leaves on the trees.
Yeah.
Probably some insects in there somewhere. It's kind of hard to tell, but probably so. Give me an abiotic factor.
Cloud.
Clouds,
The sky.
the sky itself, the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, the nitrogen gas, all those gases that make up our atmosphere. Okay, so just making sure we're good. We all good? All right, so now let's talk about when we go out and we find some organisms, and those organisms are all the same type, and they have the same genes, and they can actually produce new offspring that are just like them, that can continue to produce and reproduce new offspring that are just like them. What do we call that? I know some of you are looking ahead. What do we call it?
Ecology.
Ecology.
Nope. You weren't looking far enough ahead. Blah, blah, blah.
Farther.
Species.
They are a species, yes. Okay,
Come on.
so, anywho, we're going to be looking at specific species, and maybe those species might live with other species, and maybe they might live with their same species, or maybe they're living with certain abiotic factors or other biotic factors. And we're going to keep looking and studying and looking at all of that. Okay, when we are looking and studying, this is the section. Now, what is it called?
Ecology.
Ecology. There you go. Ecology. And I like to put up some pictures because these are pictures over the years that remind me of this time of year. What is that?
Hurricane.
A hurricane. Florida, my mom lives down there, so this time of year we're always kind of like, oh, I hope she's not going to get hit by a hurricane. Does she need to come up to Indiana? You know, we talk about that quite frequently between her and I, and we talk about, oh, the new names, and we thought it was kind of funny that that last one was Sally, that kind of hit them hard with a lot of rain. Now there's a new one, and I forget what its name is.
It
'Cause
starts with a B.
it's a B.
I got you.
Is it Blanche or
Hold on. I got it.
it's like a, I don't even know. But anyway, we always laugh because we all.
there's a Lowell.
What's that?
Lowell's one of them.
Lowell.
Beta. Beta.
Betta's one of them.
Beta.
How do you say it?
Beta.
Yeah.
Beta. I forgive me, but I have not been watching the news. I've been so busy lately that I haven't even been watching the news. And
There's Betta.
since my mom hasn't said, "Well, a hurricane's coming," then I haven't worried about it.
Teddy, Lowell, and Betta.
Teddy.
Teddy.
Yes, Teddy.
Gotcha.
Teddy,
Anyway,
Lowell.
this would be ecology. Studying how it's going to come at you. Who's it going to hit? What should we do? That would be part of ecology. Okay? If you guys decided you wanted to just go take a bike ride out in the woods, you'd be performing ecology without even thinking about it. Because if you're riding your bike, what are you paying attention to?
Around you.
The train, the surroundings, making sure that you're safe, that you're not going to wreck, that you can ride your bike there. So that, again, would be ecology. I've got a student who's getting lucky enough next week to go to a wedding, on the beach. And so while we're out here in Indiana searching for some ecological concepts, she's going to be in Florida. And I said, oh, cool, you can bring back some different stuff for us so we can talk about the variation of the ecology there versus here. So that would be ecology. This was one of my favorite pictures that I took like years ago. This was in Minnesota. I just thought it was kind of a pretty picture of the various cows, and they were on a hill, and it was just kind of a neat day, although obviously you can tell it's dry then like it is now. But studying and looking at the cows and how they're interacting with their other cows and their babies, that would be ecology. Now, would this be ecology? Looking at fire or talking about the air and the soil and the water, would that be ecology?
No.
Yes, it would, because this stuff, even though it's abiotic, affects all of the biotic factors that we just looked at. So all of this combined would be ecology. So if we define it, it's the scientific study of interactions among organisms and between them and in their environment as well. So hence why the environment in which they live in, we're going to study that. So any type of study where we're looking at how organisms are just dealing with life, so to speak, that's ecology. And we're going to be doing that. Way more fun than sitting in here just looking at a screen, right?
Much.
On these hard stools.
Yes. Get us out of here.
Okay, so next week we will look forward to fun-filled days of hopefully sunshine and fresh air.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
What's next then?
Got a couple people who are still writing, so we'll wait.
A keystone species.
All right, so we are going to look, when we look at organisms that are kind of like, I don't want to say like the lowest of our little stepping stone, but they sort of are besides just organism in general. An organism, like we said, is a living thing. Now we're going to look at a specific living thing that can make the same living thing over and over again. All right, we're going to be looking at, a species. So that's our first vocabulary word other than just all these regular bio words and what we're studying. So would this squirrel be a species?
Yes.
Yes. Why?
Because it can make more of itself.
It's living and it can make more of itself. Okay, how about this thing? Is this tree?
No.
Is it a species?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and it's hard to tell what kind of tree it is. When we go outside, there's going to be so many different types of trees. And that was actually kind of fun yesterday. I got my little plant app out where I could identify different plants. And oh my gosh, there's so many different kinds of trees and stuff out there, which I already knew because you know how they reproduce. How do they reproduce?
Their leaves.
Seeds. And those seeds can be in various types. And right now, especially in the fall, you're going to see at least 3 or 4 trees and their types of seeds, which are what? Not really seeds, but they're called what's an acorn?
Nut.
It's a nut. You're going to see lots of different nuts out there, which is a way that they reproduce themselves. So yes, trees are species because they reproduce with seeds or nuts or what have you. So if we define a species, I'm going to have you add something here too, by the way. All right, you're going to define it as this: organisms that have the same or similar genes and are capable of interbreeding, and then I want you to add this last little part, and can produce fertile offspring. So, and can produce fertile, F-E-R-T-I-L-E, offspring. So add that to the end of this. So they are organisms that have the same or similar genes and are capable of interbreeding and producing fertile offspring. No yawning or we have to turn the lights back on because that means you're going to fall asleep on me. And then it's contagious. See? There it goes. No more yawning. Okay, so at the end you're going to say, and produce fertile offspring. and produce fertile offspring. I don't know how you guys take notes on your phone, because my fat fingers don't let me do that very well. I usually end up having to just talk to it. It's faster. Okay, what does that mean, fertile offspring, guys?
Able to reproduce.
Yeah, that it can reproduce. Are there species that aren't really species out there?
Yes.
What are they? You guys have some
No clue.
examples? Maybe a fish. Mhm.
It's a chicken.
A fish can reproduce.
No,
Well,
but it's a kind of fish
a
that
certain-
doesn't reproduce.
Yeah, a
but
certain
like
kind of
babies.
fish.
Like,
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I know
Yeah,
which one you're talking
there's a whole bunch of them.
That's not a fish.
All right. Anybody have donkeys at their house?
about. Did you just say a jellyfish?
Or know anybody that have some donkeys?
Who just said a jellyfish?
Ah, it's going there. Kyra's got it.
Are you mental?
Hey, all right, let's stop our side conversation over there. Did you hear Kyra, everybody?
No.
Say it again, Kyra.
Something about a dog.
Mules. Because what is a mule made from? A donkey and a horse. But can the mule itself produce fertile offspring? Nope. So do we really consider mule a species? No. But we can call it an organism, but it's just not a species because it doesn't produce new fertile offspring. It can be produced again if we do a donkey and a horse again, but the mule itself cannot produce fertile offspring. So typically not considered a species, just an organism. Okay, so what happens when we get a group of organisms a group of species living together in the same area? What do we call that? Before that, a population. Yep,
Heck yeah.
a population. But before we get there, oh shoot, forgot this was here. I do this every time. I do this every year. Sorry. Keystone species. We need to talk about that. Keystone. Key. Like when you think of a key, you're thinking of something that's very important. And then stone, you put it together, keystone. I always think of NHS, National Honor Society. And one of their symbols is an archway. And in the center of that arch, okay, at the top in the middle is what we call a keystone. And what happens if you remove the keystone from the arch?
It will fall.
It will fall. It will fall. I don't know about getting bullied, but it will fall. The keystone is like the most important stone in that archway. It's the key component, right? When we talk about a keystone species, it is a species that if it is removed from that particular ecosystem or environment, it will have a major effect. Or if something happens to that keystone species, the ecosystem could change drastically. Now, not just bad stuff, but also good stuff there too. Okay? So, go ahead, Gabe. Sorry, what?
Humans are keystone species.
Okay, are we? Are we really? If they removed us from this planet, would the planet go on?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, but would it change drastically?
Yes.
Definitely. Okay. So when we look at keys, that was I love that he brought this up because this is a great question to ask. So in an environment, is a keystone species something that if we took it out, that the world would go on? Or is it something that if we took it out, it would change it drastically? Well, let's look again. It says a species that has an unusually large effect on the ecosystem. So I think we could say both. For sure, we could say that maybe we are. All right, let's look back at our picture again. What do you think maybe one of the keystone species in this picture would be?
The
I
lion.
heard somebody say
The
bird.
hippos.
I heard a hippo.
Hippo.
I heard trees. I heard the tire.